You ever have one of those neighbors who just can't stand seeing you happy on your own land? Well, let me tell you about the time I caught mine red-handed trying to poison my harvest and how locking her in my root cellar uncovered one of the biggest environmental scandals in state history. My name's Clay Henley, and about 3 years ago, I traded in my Chicago tech job for the 5-acre farm my grandfather left me in rural Wyoming. I swapped traffic for chickens and code for carrots. And life out here, peaceful, quiet, until she moved in. Her name was Miranda Keaton. Think designer yoga pants, Botox Thursdays, and a voice that could peel paint off a barn door. She bought the modernist monstrosity next door, a glass and steel cube that stuck out like a sore thumb among all the wood and wildflowers. Miranda didn't like my chickens, or my compost, or the fact that I hadn't mowed the pasture like it was a golf course. She started small, counting complaints about noise, smells, and imaginary zoning violations. But when none of that worked, she escalated. First, she sent a realtor to lowball me with an insulting offer. Then I found out she was releasing predators near my coop and spreading rumors I was growing weed in my root cellar. But the final straw, that came on an October night, just after I finished canning the last of my heirloom tomatoes. My phone pinged, motion alert from the cellar cam. I pulled up the feed and saw Miranda, hoodie up, jimmying the lock with what looked like a professional pick set. She slipped inside with a bulky canvas bag. I tapped into the interior camera and nearly choked on my tea. Miranda was unpacking an industrial-sized jug of weed killer. She was about to destroy my entire winter supply. All those hours, all that sweat, all my granddad's legacy, gone in seconds if I didn't act. So, I hit the button. See, I'd upgraded the cellar with a remote electronic lock. The door clicked shut, and Miranda froze. She ran to the door, banged on it, screamed about lawyers and lawsuits. But I wasn't worried. The cellar had lights, a bench, ventilation, and even a compost toilet. My grandpa was nothing if not prepared. I called Sheriff Morris, a gruff but fair guy who'd been patrolling these parts since the Reagan era. Told him I had video of Miranda breaking in with poison in hand. He said he was tied up with a car pileup but would get there in under an hour. Told me to keep her contained and not engage. Then, as if summoned by dark energy, a black Mercedes rolled up. Out stepped her husband, Daniel Keaton, corporate attorney and professional intimidator. He demanded to see Miranda, but I calmly showed him the footage. Lockpick, jug of poison, and her face in full HD. He went pale, then tried to play tough. You can't just lock someone in a cellar. I shrugged. Citizen's detainment of an intruder. Sheriff's on his way. We sat awkwardly in my kitchen, watching Miranda on the feed. She'd gone from screaming threats to playing the victim, even calling someone, probably Daniel. Then she tried dumping the weed killer down the cellar drain, not realizing I'd had a separate containment tank installed. Every drop. Evidence. When Sheriff Morris showed up, we reviewed everything. Timeline, photos, videos, logs of every bogus complaint she filed. And that's when the real twist came. Sheriff asked Miranda point blank why she'd gone this far. Her eyes flicked to Daniel, who looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. Then she said it. Because this land used to be a chemical disposal site. Back in the 70s. Before your grandfather bought it. The company my father ran, Red Rock Industries, dumped waste all over this area and never cleaned it up. If you test that soil, you'll find things you wish you hadn't. Silence. Sheriff leaned in, squinting. Are you admitting to covering up a toxic waste site for decades? Daniel stepped back. My name's on the mailbox. But I knew nothing about this. From there, things moved fast. The EPA showed up. Environmental consultants. Lawyers. The soil was tested. My cellar and garden. Contaminated with PCBs and heavy metals. Miranda had been trying to stop me from discovering it all along. Turns out, she was once Red Rock's head of waste management. She orchestrated falsified reports, buried barrels of chemicals, and bullied neighbors into silence. Me. I was just the latest problem she couldn't silence. She got arrested. Tried to play the victim in court. But the jury didn't buy it. 7 years in federal prison. For dollars. $5 million in fines. And public apologies in every paper from here to Boston. Meanwhile, my farm became a remediation site. Olivian environmental scientist, and now my wife helped turn it into a model for land recovery. We built an education center where the root cellar stood. Part museum, part warning. And that bottle of weed killer Miranda brought. It's in a glass case now. The dumbest crime tool in history. And the catalyst for justice. So yeah. Sometimes locking a Karen in your cellar isn't just legal, it's exactly what the land needs. What do you think? Was I right to lock her in until the sheriff showed up? Ever dealt with a neighbor like Miranda? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear your wildest community conflict stories and how you handle them.